What's going on, guys? Kinger here today, and today I have the misfortune of doing a video on this Pokemon Pinball that I just got in the mail today. So I recently purchased a factory sealed Pokemon Pinball version, and it was supposed to be this exact copy right here, but unfortunately it's not actually factory sealed. So I just wanted to show you guys how to watch out for a factory game, or a Game Boy game being factory sealed. In this case, it's a Game Boy Color game, so I'm going to compare it to some other games that I have in my collection. So for starters, let's just take a look at the front of the box. The front of the box honestly looks legit in photos until you look at the pinholes. So this one actually has quite a few pinholes, and when I refer to pinholes, I'm talking about these really tiny holes in the packaging. Now, it's pretty normal for a game to have some pinholes in it. So for example, SpongeBob SquarePants Legend of the Lost Spatula. So if you take a look at it, you see that those pinholes are across the front of the box, right over here. And then the other way that I was kind of able to tell that it was just kind of a different seal is when I was just rubbing my fingers across. I don't know if you can hear that, or if you can even see that on my left hand, my thumb just does not slide as freely. There's some friction on this wrap here because it's not the same material as the one that was used on this package right over here. So as you can see, it's much easier for me to slide my finger here than it is here. And even if I press hard or switch hands, I hope you guys can hear that. This game just has a much smoother surface on it, at least the plastic does, than this one, because this one is not an authentic seal. Now, this game really got me because I saw it had the KB Toy sticker on it, and I thought it was legit, but it was my fault. I should have noticed that the biggest giveaway of this, which is the seam on the back. So this is typically going to be the very easiest way for you to tell if a game is legit or resealed. So if you look at the back of this game, you'll see that it has some pinholes on the back, and it has actually no seam. So there's no like vertical seam or horizontal seam on the back of the box. And if you look at the top of the box, it does have a seam there, but it doesn't connect anywhere to anywhere else on the box. And if you actually, it is connected to this is not an authentic seal. It's actually connected. This top seam is connected to the seam on the side, on the left side to be exact, which is then connected to the bottom of the box, and that's all one seam. And that's just not how Nintendo seals their games. So if you look at this game right over here, this has a legit seam. So if you look at the top of the box, there isn't a seam, which isn't actually what indicates that it's legit or not. But if you look at the side of the box and you see what the seam looks like, because this seam can be on the top or side of the box, and I'll show you another example in a minute. But this seam happens to be on the side of the box, and as you can see, it's a T seam. So there's a horizontal seam, if you look at it in this orientation, or vertical if you call it this orientation. But it goes across the entire thing, and then it has a little seam on the bottom. And then that seam connects all the way across the back of the box, horizontally. So it has that vertical seam, and then it turns into this horizontal seam right over here, which then connects to the side over here. And again, it's connected right over there to make a T shape if you hold it in this orientation. So a T there and a T there on both the left and right side of the box, which then connects on the back of the box with the horizontal, and that's known as an H seam. And these H seams can be both horizontal or they can be vertical. So for example, in this Pokemon Red version, if you look at the seam on the top of the box, you can see that it has a T seam if you hold it in this orientation. And it's hard to show, this one's in a case, but it has that T right there, which then connects vertically on the back of the box, and then connects to the bottom of the box, which has a seam like that, a T seam once again. And this is a legit seam. This one I know had a seal on the top, a seam on the top, and a seam on the bottom, but notice they're not actually connected with a T to the back of the box. Thus, there's no H seam. I believe this one's actually referred to as a V seam. It's just more so an H seam that's horizontal, or rather a vertical seam, whatever you want to call it. But they're all really the same thing. It has those T's on the side, and they connect across the back of the box. That's just how Nintendo sealed their games. It depends if they put the game in the machine in this orientation or this orientation, and that's what indicates if it would be vertical or horizontal. But in this case, we have a horizontal one, and in this case, we just don't have one. So we have a bunch more pinholes on this box. We have that cheap feeling plastic that it catches your fingers. And then you also have the lack of the H seam. Now, if we look at the SpongeBob game that has those pinholes on the front of the box, notice that they're horizontal across the box, and you have an H seam that's horizontal across the back of the box. Then if you look at this Pokemon Red version, it's going to be harder to see, because again, it's in a case, but you see you have these pinholes vertically on the box. This actually has it in 2 columns, right over here and right over here, and thus the seam is also vertical. I even have a Pokemon Ruby version, and this one's kind of damaged, so it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see I have horizontal holes. You can see it has horizontal holes right there and there and there across the front of the box. And you guessed it already, it has a horizontal seam. So that's kind of how you can indicate a legit Nintendo seal. Hopefully nobody replicates this, but yeah, this just is not an authentic seal. So keep that in mind when you're looking for video games to add to your collection, primarily Game Boy, Game Boy Color, even Game Boy Advance. There is some variation with the Game Boy Advance. I'm not super confident on those yet, but in terms of Game Boy Color and just DMG Game Boy, look out for these things, because this game wasn't cheap. Luckily, I did buy it on eBay, so I will have buyer protection there, but sometimes you just don't have buyer protection. So with all those things in mind, hopefully I taught you guys something about the seams of a Game Boy Color and how to indicate what's a legit seam and what's not, and hopefully it helps you out when you're trying to purchase future factory sealed games, because I know a lot of people are hesitant to buy raw factory sealed games, and to be honest, I don't really blame them, because there's some really good freaking reseals out there. And from photos, I mean, this one was really convincing. I mean, it had the KB Toys sticker on it, so I have a feeling someone probably resealed this and then returned it to KB Toys. If that happened, or someone could have honestly just bought this sticker and just put it right back, peeled it off something and put it onto this Pokemon Pinball game. So yeah, I'm not really sure what it is exactly, but hopefully I taught you guys something, and hopefully you guys take something away from this video that will save you hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars in the future. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please comment below. I also have recently finished up my updated red, blue, yellow thread that tells you between the different variants of red, blue, and yellow. Sadly, I'd love to do a YouTube video on the variants, but unfortunately, I really don't have that many variants yet. I have like about 3 boxes right now, and there should be about, I think, 11 boxes that I would need. And they're not cheap, because Pokemon's pretty hot right now, so yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully I can do a video on that in the future, but as far as this video goes, I really hope you guys learned something, and I'm going to close out now, so take care and have a great day.